I love pizza, and I know a lot of you out there love pizza. So today, Sylvia is going to be baking for me.
Yes, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Neapolitan style pizza dough, but we're going to be using it to make a calzone.
So what's calzone?
A calzone, it's basically a folded pizza, and I suppose it's shaped like a crescent, and I don't know where the name comes from really, because calzone in Italian means pantaloon.
Does it?
So you go figure. Yeah. It's probably something related to some local folklore, because Italian culture is like that. But let's get to it.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to mix some yeast in water, and I've used a tiny amount of yeast. And we let it stand for a few minutes until you see all these bubbles coming up to the surface. Flour.
So that's measured out.
Yes.
And when it comes to baking and working with flours, what type of flour do you use for the calzone?
I'm using bread and pizza flour. You can use double O, or you can use all-purpose flour. Now we're going to add the yeasty mixture.
Okay. And you're not using a stand mix?
I'm not using any other tool than my hands. I'm not going to add the salt now because it will kill the yeast.
Sure.
So basically all I'll do is start with a wooden spoon. Okay. I like to contain the mess to, a bowl because, as much as it'd be a lot of fun to do this straight on the wooden board,
yes,
it get very, very messy,
yes,
very, very quickly. Now that the yeast is safely incorporated into the flour, I can add the salt. Okay. If you do it before, then you run the risk of the salt interfering with the yeast, and then your dough basically doesn't rise, and that would be a dirty shame. And
you're adding quite a substantial amount of salt.
Yeah, there's quite a bit, because look, you really want to taste the beauty of this chewy dough. And the thing that is going to make it really, really flavoursome is the fact that we are going to let this dough ferment for a long time. So we added very little amount of yeast for this very reason. So now that I'm kneading it, and it's sort of come together, and I suppose the mess risk is minimum.
It's done.
I can pop this onto the board. And look, if you have got a standing mixer fitted with a dough hook, absolutely go for it. But I find that sometimes it's a lot easier and quicker, and then you don't have to do so much washing up. And if you feel like it's getting too sticky, you can just flour your board like that. Don't overdo it though, because you don't want this to become too dry. Okay, see that this is coming together?
Yeah.
Now, you really want this to become quite smooth. And the way to do it is basically to use this bit of your hand here and push it away from you. Then you roll it and you turn it. And you keep doing this until it's really nice and smooth. And
you don't need to move your body. Move the dough around as you're doing it. All right, here we go. I was just about to tell you I'm going to have a glass of wine while you continue doing this.
Maybe I'll have a glass of wine while you do this.
The tables have turned. How's that, Sylvia?
It's actually really pleasurable to work this dough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Vino time.
Yes, please.
A generous Italian pour.
Absolutely.
Here you go.
Okay.
Beautiful. Night, night. Okay, let's have a look. See how it feels really soft and really relaxed. That was the purpose of this exercise. Now we're going to just stretch it into a rough rectangular shape, like that. Fold it like that. Roll it back up into a ball. And this will give the dough a really beautiful texture.
Okay.
And then this goes in a bowl for a couple of hours, and then in the fridge, covered in cling wrap for, up to 5 days.
Magical dough.
Too easy. Mwah.
Okay, well, we have the most magnificent dough here. Look how alive it is. Sylvia, can I do the honours?
Just be very careful, because I don't want you to burst that bubble.
Gentle, gentle.
because this is the magical stuff, and I really want you to see it. This is a good sign that this dough has been fermenting, and the resulting crunch when you bite into it once it's baked is going to be out of this world. Okay, at this point, we are going to pop that bubble. Do you want to do it?
Are you sure I can?
Come on.
Ooh,
You know you want to.
Boop.
It doesn't want to give. Look at that. Oh, it feels so incredibly silky and smooth. Look at that.
Feel of that? Nice.
It's kind of talking. Look, it's saying, I'm alive, I'm alive. Now, this quantity is enough for 2 sizable calzone. So we're just going to make one to share today. Now, you don't even need a rolling pin for this because it is so flexible and pliable. Look at that. All I need from you is that sheet of baking paper, because that's going to make my life a lot easier. What I'm going to do, I'm going to dust it with a little bit of fine semolina.
Okay.
And just a tiny bit of flour. So basically all we do is shape the dough into a circle. And while I do that, would you please chop the cherry tomatoes and the salame for me?
Okay. And I guess at this stage, it's a pizza. So you could add what you like to it, pop it in the oven.
Exactly. I think cherry tomatoes, ricotta and salami work particularly well with this type of preparation. But again, go with whatever you like. So look at this. My job here is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some passata and just basically smear it onto just half of this.
I think that's why I do like a calzone pizza, is because you get more filling in it. So it's like almost bursting with ingredients in the centre of it.
I'm going to crumble some full-fat ricotta, nice firm ricotta.
Now, we're using pepperoni today, but you could use any type of salami, correct?
It's funny you say pepperoni because in Italian, pepperoni means capsicum.
Yes.
So we don't call this pepperoni, we just call this salame.
Who knows why it's called
I don't know. Pinch of salt. And some of this beautiful filling.
Nice.
Chopped cherry tomatoes, salame. You could add herbs if you like that. At this point, I'm just going to drizzle a tiny bit of extra virgin olive oil, not much.
Nice.
And now this is where the fun begins. You just grab the other half and fold it over the top. You just have to be very careful not to break the dough.
Okay.
And basically you have to seal it. And what I do, I pinch it like that and twist it together. It's basically like a giant wonton or a giant empanada, so something like that.
I was going to say empanada, that's what it looks like.
And see why it was handy to actually do this over the baking paper, so that then we don't have to over manipulate this, because it's quite delicate. Now, what I like to do before I put it in the oven is just drizzle the top with a little bit of the passata, just to remind me of its wonderful ruby filling.
Nice. And
of course, because it's me, tiny bit more extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, I wouldn't think it was your calzone if you didn't put more olive oil on it.
Pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Crank up the oven. You need this to be baking at the highest temperature your oven can handle. Look, and then you'll see what it's gonna look like. You'll be rewarded.
All right.
Shall I pop it in?
Please do. Sylvia, this looks so good.
Mamma mia, as they say. Okay, let me just slide this onto the board.
It is piping hot.
Piping hot. Be very careful. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
It's screaming for it.
I feel like I'm in Italy right now, because this is how they present it, with a little bit of that tomato sauce on top.
It really is a good idea, isn't it?
Sure is.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going in. Look at that.
Oh,
Look at that.
I think I'm gonna cry. It's that delicious.
Oh, darling. There you go.
All right. We should taste, right?
I go for the crusty bit as
too.
well. Oh, see?
Me too. It's piping hot. We are going to burn our tongues, but it's worth it. Wow.
Mmm.
My friend,
That's
you
some
make...
water?
Oh, that's amore, all right. And that is what you call calzone. The real deal by Sylvia. Thank you.
Mwah.
Bellissimo.
Ciao.